Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome back to the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series, Round 2 here in Season 18 at Watkins, Glen. I'm Austin Knight. I'm joined by Mary McLeod with Dennis Branch in the production booth, and you're here watching another great Ricmotech action presented by Proforma Elite Texas Graphics. Larry, how are you feeling about this race?
I am really excited about this race. Two of my favorite things. The first is our MX-5 Cup cars, and the second is Watkins Glen. I think this is one of the absolute great spectacles of motorsport, one of the rare great motor racing tracks we have in North America. I think this place is a fantastic facility, and I think we're going to see a great demonstration of car control, skill, and racecraft tonight with the talent we have on display here.
Indeed,
Definitely one of my favorites.
It's also one of my favorite tracks. This track very famous for, well, just incredibly close racing, either in the Cup circuit, but with these Miatas, oh man, it's going to be a massive draft fest here.
It is. The draft is going to make these cars really tight. The cream is going to rise to the top. You're going to see some of the really top drivers go out there in their solo qualifying sessions and put themselves at the front of the pack. Because I think what you're going to find is the draft will keep the pack together, but you want to be at the front to get out of that melee of the mid-pack madness. And you're probably going to see, like we've seen in the past, where we saw at Road Atlanta, back in the previous season, or what you're going to see here, even what we saw a little bit at Sebring the last time out. You're going to see that top pack, that top 6 to 8, start to break away, because that bus stop is going to create a little bit of chaos and create some separation. But I think we're going to see that top 6 or so. You want to get into that group early on. And qualifying will be that separation, but that train is going to continue long into the night. The pit stops is going to be a little bit of a separator to see who pits early to try and break the pack a little bit, and who waits until the very last second to try and hang on to a little bit. Maybe who can save a little bit of fuel by being the tail end of that opening train. It's going to be a fun night for some strategy and some great track racing.
Indeed, strategy and, strategy, racecraft, and just a little bit of craziness is going to be the key here today, because Watkins Glen, what does this track not offer?
It's got everything. It's got everything from elevation change. It's got fast corners, slow corners. It's got crazy curbs. It's got penalties if you put yourself a little bit too wide in a couple spots. That bus stop is so bumpy, but these Miatas, they take it pretty well, and you've got to be aggressive to hit those bumps and those curbs, and every corner has just got a little bit of personality to it. There's certain grooves around this place, and these drivers have been practicing from the last race that they ran a couple weeks ago. They've been practicing every week through this last weekend. Even if they were running some 24-hour races, I'm sure they get a little bit of MX-5 Cup car practice in, because you want to find those special grooves around this place. And there's a lot of personality to this place to be able to figure it out. I love Watkins Glen. It's absolutely one of my top 3 tracks in the world, and I think we're going to see that the personality come shining through tonight.
It certainly is, and let's go out for a track guide here at Watkins Glen.
Welcome, everyone, to Watkins Glen, located here near beautiful Lake Seneca in New York. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today around this 3.4-mile course, known to many as the Glen. They don't come any more famous than this one when it comes to American road racing. Well, let's begin our track guide as we head up the front straightaway. You'll notice our main grandstands to the left, our pit area to the right, as we cross the stripe and head down into this famous turn 1 here, known as the 90. Very difficult corner to get right. As we get down into third gear, we're going to let that car rotate to the bottom and get right back to throttle and let it drift out, clear out to the track out there to get every bit of speed we can to head up through the uphill S's and on to the backstretch here at the Glen. Very fast section through here, and certainly overtaking can be done, but it's a little hair-raising at times. Coming out onto the backstretch, this will be our fastest portion of the course, and you will see overtaking coming into the bus stop here, or what's also known as the inner loop. Keeping it tight to the curbing as we come through that section and then swing out wide to set up our entry into turn 5, the carousel. Back to throttle early. This will bring us down into the boot section. This is known as the chute, turn 6. They refer to it as the boot because from an aerial view, it looks like a boot. This will take us down into the toe. Down into third gear, very difficult corner to get right. It's an uphill right-hander. Want to get the throttle as quick as you can. Use that track out as well to pick up that speed up over the crest of the hill here. This will take us down to the heel, turn 8. Another 90, very tight right-hander. Again, let that car rotate to the bottom, come right back to throttle, get a good launch up the hill. As we prepare for turn 9, the re-entry, and off-camber re-entry into the main portion of the course here. Heading towards turn 10, this is going to be a fast one. We'll remain in 4th gear here, keep the throttle pretty much wide open around this turn. And we'll track back left to set up our entry into the final corner here at the Glen. Turn 11. Track out by the wall there and wide open up the front straightaway. There you go. There's your track guide for the beautiful Watkins Glen. Thank you so much for being with us.
And we're back here live right as qualifying is about to start here for the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Proformer Elite Texas Graphics. After that good lap guide, what are we going to be seeing for these drivers? When we were in the break, we were talking about how this track isn't as technical as the other tracks. How many cars are we going to see within a second of each other?
I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be tight because I think everyone's familiar with this track. I mean, it's one of those tracks that the first day you get your iRacing account, the first thing you do is you grab your MX-5 Cup car and you open up Watkins Glen and you start turning laps. It's the very first thing you do. So everybody knows
the first thing you have to do is actually buy Watkins Glen, but this is true. This is one of my first spot tracks on iRacing.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has it at this point. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's so common. It's everywhere. And that's part of it. So everyone's very, very familiar with it. But one of the things that, as I mentioned earlier, is that there's a very good groove around this place. And it may not always be the most technical in terms of, decreasing radius types of very difficult to drive corners or anything. But it has these certain personality characteristics. You just have to find these special grooves. And as we watch these lines coming through like the bus stop, there's a certain moment where you've got to crest that entry curve and get the weight to transfer just right so you can get on the gas moments early enough to then go flicking the car through the bus stop and out. It doesn't feel like much, but it really does help you carry a ton more speed. And seeing it done right versus seeing it done wrong doesn't always look different, but you look at the clock and all of a sudden you find it's a half a second difference coming out. And that's what Watkins Glen is. It's not necessarily technical that makes it hard to drive or frustrating. It's knowing those little personality characteristics and helping them come out and make them fast.
Indeed, all these personality characteristics make it work to a good lap and a very enjoyable lap. And each corner kind of has a little bit of a quirk to itself. Turn 1, it's got that massive runoff that you can use, and it kind of feels just like a game of cat and mouse whenever you're racing there with somebody else who's braking first. The S's, you want to lock that down, and it's just a fun roller coaster ride. That bus stop, pretty much cat and mouse again, but a more scary game of cat and mouse. This time you're playing cat and mouse with a train. The toe, we were talking about it being very tricky on exit. Gonna be watching people off there and maybe a few loose ends. And coming out of the boot, that is also a very dangerous spot on this track. I've seen so many cars lose out the rear end right there in that very low grip corner.
Might be the hardest corner on the track, as you mentioned, as we call it, coming out of the boot there at turn 9. Extremely difficult. The pavement has a little bit of a crest to it, and that curb is deadly. It's extremely tall, like a big chunk of vertical asphalt just parked there, and everybody wants a lot of the curbs around this place. You can go diving across, they're nice and flat. That one, no, you stay away from it. But you can't really see around the corner very well either. There's a big guardrail there, a big piece of arm coming your way too. So it just makes it extremely difficult to know when the car is really planted and ready to go. And it is really the tightest and slowest corner on the track. It is, to me, the hardest one around here. There's places where you get a little bit of separation. That might be the most technical. And but as you say, every corner has that little bit of personality around here. I see a little bit of a lock up there. coming for I think it's Hartley, coming around there through turn 6, that little downhill chute, again plummeting further downhill here to what we call the toe of the boot, this uphill right-hander. Oh, I love this place. I mentioned every corner is just so unique and different as you're rolling through the Finger Lakes region of New York. This natural terrain. Oh, I just love this place.
Every corner is pretty much a painting. You take that and it is a beautiful work of art. That's what just land that hasn't been altered. The track has been placed there. It just speaks to you. Just be like, this is how racetrack should be. No artificial land put down to make a giant hill or try to make a good racetrack by digging a hole or having a pit lane that goes underneath the track. If you notice a theme here, I'm just railing Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, hats off to Ricmotech and the track C designs, but some of the tracks that were laid down in the 1950s or earlier really have stood the test of time. Places like here at Watkins Glen, places to me like Spa that have actually had to come down, and what they've done to Spa to be able to make it into a modern racetrack, what they did back in the 80s and 90s to me, and making it a brilliant racetrack to what it is today. But also places like, I love Road America. To me, I think that's still just a brilliant racetrack. But here at Watkins Glen, this is just, it feels like the true heritage of classic club racing, road racing, and you throw in something as pure driving experience as an MX-5 Cup car, and what a great combination to have for this sprint series here tonight.
Yeah, Formula One, when they came here back in the day, I was actually watching some old Formula One races last week here, and just seeing them take on this place is just so fun.
Yeah,
so I know the here on iRacing, the Formula 3.5 cars love to come here every season. It's just a blast from the past whenever those cars come here.
Oh, hey, the same thing. The Skippies. I know that if the Skippy series is running, I'm putting that on my own personal calendar to make sure I run a couple races there every year. If the Miatas are there in the public series, I'm running those. Kind of bummed I'm not running here in the Ricmotech series, because I would have definitely been all week long practicing for this one myself. I run a lot of Spec Forward myself, and I know that I will probably, each time the public Spec Forward series hits Watkins Glen, I will usually do 8 to 10 races in that week, because I just love the way that the cars play around this track, and to really learn that personality to me is so much fun. But look at the tightness of this group. Look at the top 10 so far after about roughly 2 laps for everybody in the books. 8/10 on a 2-minute lap separating the top 10. It's an extremely tight pack.
Very tight. And look up front, Zach Burke and Elvis Rankin, 0.03 of a second. Mike Dan 1/10 behind them. But Burke and Rankin are going to be the big lookers here today. And Zach Burke kind of came out of nowhere. Didn't have the best race at Road Atlanta last time by, but man, he's making himself known here today.
Yeah, so far so good. And in practice, he was pretty close to Elvis's time, and right now he has got himself on top of this leaderboard so far. Elvis, though, is out there on his 3rd lap. That time for Zach Burke is his 3rd time. He's now out there taking his 4th lap. We'll see what the time is for Elvis, as he still has to complete his 3rd.
John Allen sitting in 4th place now. That second grid slot, the second row slot. And I must say, the preferred starting place on this track in a high draft car, I would actually think is the 2nd row, because you're going to get that draft on that 1st lap, and you might be able to get a good run on the leaders coming out of the S's, and might be able to stick your nose down the inside into the bus stop for a cheeky overtake right there.
I'm a big fan of playing the slow game. If you could be fast enough and be on that front row, and then let someone on the 2nd row go ahead and take the lead and be all the aggressor on the opening lap, and then sit behind them and save fuel for the next 30 to 40 minutes, and then come in with a faster fuel stop and then take the lead back to win the race. That's the strategy I like. We'll see. Could be all bets off when this thing starts out. These guys might just decide, you know what, enough is enough, as we've talked to someone like John Allen in the past, who goes, you know what, at some point in the race, you just get bored doing that. You just go, time to mix it up, and just decide to send it. Because having patience for 45 minutes waiting for a fuel stop gets awful boring too. So we'll see what strategy everybody decides to play out and how that opening lap dictates those strategies.
Indeed, and I know a lot of drivers, they've been kind of forced being held on a leash during the Daytona 24-hour, always driving conservative, don't try to send it in, and that gets monotonous after a while. You just really want to go rabid and just send one in on someone, so we might see a little bit of nerves being let loose here at the start of this race, and I can tell you, we are in for a great show here today. 4 minutes left in qualifying.
You may be honest, you mentioned there about this past weekend with the, obviously the heavy usage, heavy participation in the 24-hour Daytona. A lot of these drivers may have done one or two or multiple sessions of that, depending on how their first one went. And you're right, if the team strategies were let's just survive and get through, they might be looking for a true sprint, mix-it-up type of race tonight. So there may be something to that. You might see drivers say, you know what, I'm enough of that stinking just go out there and survive for 24 hours. I want to go out there and mix it up, and I don't care about strategy. I just want to go side by side. So that'll be interesting to see if we see some of that.
Somebody who loves going side by side and battling it for the win. Elvis Rankin is fallen down to third place as John Allen last lap jumps up into second just by 1/100th of a second ahead. And here's Rankin coming out of the boot right now, trying to get back onto the second row of the front row. He's currently sitting in the second row.
Yeah, well, like you said, it's not a bad place to start there in the second row. So maybe for right now, Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin might be sitting right there in that catbird seat, although starting on pole does earn you that extra point. So may not be a bad thing right now for Zach Burke if he's able to hold on to this.
Rankin comes across the line. Purple last two sectors was purple for Elvis. Does he improve on his time? Doesn't look like it, and he's going to put a dent into the wall and blow the engine, and that is qualifying for the young gun, Elvis Rankin.
Looking a little bit better for Burke, but it's not over yet. I mean, look at that. Top 7, half a second apart.
That's nuts.
It really is. It's the only way to describe it, and it's going to be very tight in this kind of race. It may come down to the driver who's the aggressor early could take advantage of it if everyone else is really conservative, but also being too aggressive and mixing it up could potentially break the pack. So you want to be just aggressive enough to stay with the front pack, but just conservative enough to not get yourself, stuck in the back of it.
Yeah, we got 33 cars out on grid here today, so it's a very, very packed field of MX-5s, and kind of remind me of the old MX-5 Cup days.
Oh yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. I mean, sitting out here with 30 some odd of these things, buzzing through those uphill S's down towards the bus stop in the opening lap. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. As much as I miss the Mustang, a nice big field of Miatas is just a beautiful thing to see.
Indeed it is, and I can certainly tell you, if you're an iRacing filmmaker, you're going to have a lot of great footage here on this opening lap of just 33 Mazdas just screaming by you.
Yep. At the race at Road Atlanta in December, we had ourselves a top 10 moment. There could easily be another one here tonight.
Yeah, well, it's actually January, but they put in the December highlights. That finished that three-way finish, the last 5 laps between those top 3 drivers. We thought at the start of that lap, there was a big gap to Elvis Rankin and John Allen, and we thought that was going to be it. The next thing you know, throughout that lap, they chased hard, well, if you want to watch that finish in full, you can go to the iRacing member spotlights in December, and near the second to the last clip, I believe, was our race to open out the season at Road Atlanta. And
if it's half as exciting tonight as that was, you're in for a heck of a show tonight. Because that was an amazing race, and I expect this to be along the same lines.
Yeah, it's always an honor to get onto those, and then it's always an honor to be casting those. And it's always an honor to have your name attached to the very bottom of that. That's to my own horn. Zach Burke takes pole position and gets that point ahead of John Allen by 0.03 of a second. That's just ridiculous. Followed by Elvis Rankin, Mike Dam, Robert Hartley, Mitchell Peak, Clint Vigas and Joshua Soto. He's going to be taking the top spot for the other class here. As Travis Schwenke starts in 9th, Tyler Shiflett in 10th, Jeff Jacobs, Tony Kernan in 12th place. Behind them in 13th is Greg Mack, Brendan Huron, Tom Roth, Chris Thorman, David Payton, Randall McGrew, Kevin Ford, Jordy Fike, Gordson in 21st place, followed by Jeffrey Cranston, Edgar Santinelli, Danny McNulty in 24th, followed by Nicholas Parchino, Mike Taylor, Greg Brockway, Derek Holland, Steve Brown, Eric Chrysler, Michael Key, Robert Burst, and Patrick Pravanis at the end of this 33-car grid.
All right, we'll have ourselves a nice full lap of warming up as behind our pace cards. So real quick to recap, as we mentioned, we had our Road Atlanta round 1. The overall of that race won by Elvis Rankin in one exciting finish and a last-second pass of Elvis Rankin just ahead of John Allen and Mike Dam, Zach Berg, Travis Schwenke, and Robert Hartley. So that is your point standings coming into round 2 here.
Yeah, the point standings, not that very detailed. It's just the race standings from yesterday, but from last week. But I can tell you, last race. Next race, when we start race number 3, we're going to be having the actual full standings rundowns because, you gotta kind of have multiple races to really get a championship feel of the grid.
So the other thing about thinking about it, I've seen this done here at this track with a big field like 30 some odd cars. When the green light drops coming off of the last turn, turn 11 for the leaders, the tail of the pack gets a heck of a run coming around that last turn. By the time they get to turn 1, the tail of the pack could potentially be making some pretty hefty passing down into 1 because this front straightaway is pretty decent. Really tightens the pack up going into 1. There's a lot of opportunities for some passing in there. The pack probably then goes 3 wide as they go through this turn 1, and they have to bottleneck themselves down to go up through those S's. So we're going to see a lot of excitement on this opening lap. It could get a little bit crazy for us. So I'm excited to see how this race really opens up and plays out before they settle in for a nice long 1-hour race with a pit stop somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, a very exciting race is in store for us here at Watkins Glen. A lot of the drivers have the preferred start in their mind. Starting on the front row, I have the best chance to avoid getting stuck in something behind us. And remember, very high chance of a safety car, especially if something happens in those S's. Ricmotech, if something blocks the entire track, just like in real life, we will throw that safety car. And Watkins Glen, not very big on runoff. There is a little bit of runoff here and there, but if there's a crash, it will come back out on the track. And if there's a car stopped on track for a while, a safety car will be called.
Yeah, let's keep our eye on that one. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. But there's some crazy places for things to happen here. As you mentioned, not a lot of runoff, a lot of Armco, very close to the track. We see a lot of crazy incidents around here. But I'm so excited about this track and the way this place does go. The front of the field, though, because the straightaways are not super long, the best passing zone should be going into the bus stop. A great run off of turn 11 down the front straight into turn 1 could potentially be another if the front driver doesn't get the great run. Another one is a straightaway you see right here going down into the toe of the boot. Again, if the lead car doesn't get a great run off of 6 and the trailing car does, you possibly could make a move there into that hairpin turn. But other than that, it's going to be tough passing for a lot of this track, and some of the passing we see might come in the pit exchanges. So could be an interesting night for the front of the field here in this round 2 of our Classic Sprint Series here in the Ricmotech Series.
Yeah, round 2, probably one of the more tightly contested Ricmotech Series. I know the GT, the World Championship, I almost referred to a 10th series right there, but the World Championship, very fun. World Challenge, just that was just so fun to watch. And then you got the sports car series. Those GT4 cars are just so fun, as well the TCRs. That TCR field, even though being very small, is incredibly fun to watch. And a few of these MX-5 drivers should hop into that TCR class. But as they're coming in. That pace car is getting the go-ahead to speed up ahead into the pits as they're lined up 2 by 2 here in the hills of Watkins Glen. 1 corner to go. When that white curb starts, they're allowed to go. They had to go before the pit lane barrier starts. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to get on your feet and get loud as the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Pro Former Elite Texas Graphics gets underway here at Watkins Glen.
Great start for Zach Burke. Let's see what kind of action we got in behind them, though, and see if they do go fan out 3 wide. There they go in the back of the field. The front of the field, though, is pretty well disciplined as they go through that bit of a funnel there coming out of turn 1.
Yeah, 3 wide, 4 wide coming off the exit. It's a sea of MX-5s. They head up into the S's. There's still 3 wide going up there.
A great shot. You can see them trying to bottleneck a little bit. They know that when they get up to the bus stop, though, going too wide is a deadly move, especially in the opening lap on cold tires. They're going to try and single file going into the bus stop.
Yeah, they're all filing in right now, and some of them are getting a good run. Heading into the bus stop, they're all zooming in. They're heading out hard onto the brakes. They're going too wide back farther in the field. They make it through there, but it's Burke, Allen, Rankin, Dan Peak, Hartley, Soto, Shiflet, Schwenke, Kernan, and Vegas are top 11.
All right, on goes the Miatapede. It's just a little bit of daylight there from Burke to Allen, but again, it's just daylight at this point. It's not going to last very long. This train will look like this for a while. These cars draft pretty well. I don't think that anyone's going to be able to pull away. If anything, the drivers sitting in 2, 3, and 4 spots, 5 spots will be able to save some fuel. But the back of the pack gets very antsy in fields like this. They don't like sitting back. They like opportunities. And you're going to see them try to make moves and pick apart one by one. So I'll be looking to see who can make up a couple of spots each lap. See if anybody outside the top 10 can get up into that top 10.
Yeah, looking at it down the field, all of our movers have happened to be outside the top 4. And our biggest mover is actually Jordy Fike. They're up 3 spots right now, and Jordy's already up to 17th.
Yep, and that's that aggressive. A lot of people will be conservative in an hour-long race, knowing it's a long race, these cars will be in a train. If you can just be a little bit more aggressive than those people around you, you can pick up those kind of spots as everybody then settles in. You just got to be careful not to break that draft and lose the train in front of you. And here they come down this front straight. This is when the breaks start to happen as somebody goes side by side, and all of a sudden that side by side goes slow through one, the draft in front of them disappears.
Oh, Jeff Jacobs, big look down low, and he's got that move. They're still going to be side by side, but Jeff, around the outside, managed to hold it off of Chris Thorman as they head back into the S's. And now, as he said, that side-by-side move did form up a little bit of a gap between them, but with that draft of these Miatas and this Miatapede, it's going to be very easy to catch right back up because Miata is the most draftable car in all of iRacing. We got a 2x2 look with Tom Vertheth going side by side into the bus stop. Ooh, a little bit of aggressive defense heading into there.
A little bit, but you got to do that. You got to make sure that you protect so you're not going to get somebody dive bombing on your inside. That was a pretty aggressive course cut there. Hopefully he gets nothing more than maybe a 1X. Not actually get it, because you can pick up a course cut if you go a little bit too harsh across those entry curbing there at the bus stop.
There's Jeff under pressure again, holding that inside line. One of those D2D cars around the outside. Look, that's Chris Thorman as they head into the toe of the boot. This is a good overtaking point, especially if one of the cars goes a little bit wide. You have that inside line for side by side. Jeff Jacobs, the Florida Gators, staying ahead of Chris Thorman. And this battle is being a very big help for Greg Mack and the top 12 as it's providing a very big gap between them and the midfield.
That's how these gaps happen, as you saw it. They went into one side by side, a little gap forms, a little bit of pressure from behind, a little bit of pressure again through the bus stop and coming out, and suddenly it's a 2.5 gap between 11th and 12th.
Yeah, that 2.5 gap is going to keep growing and growing and growing, especially when they're defending and fighting and just clawing for position right now as we ride on board of Mike Dam, looking back at Mitchell Peak as he just stays in that Miata Peak, getting closer and closer. That draft helping him out. It's a double fastest lap. Soto is in the red mirror class, the SC Open class. He set the fastest lap for them. He's currently sitting 7th overall, as he's actually set the overall fastest lap as well.
He got a heck of a run there too, coming off of that turn 1. See if he just does a little bit of push and a little bit of bump drafting. I think that's peak.
Yeah, Mitchell Peak is getting a little bit of a bump draft. He actually backed out right there. And looking back, Jeff Jacobs, oh my goodness, what's happening back there. They're side by side heading into the bus stop. And around the outside and down to the inside, Chris Thorman makes a move, as well as McGrew on the Florida Gator of Jeff Jacobs.
That's a heck of a move by Thorman to go outside or on the bus stop and make it stick.
Yeah, Jeff wants to look down to the inside, but now he's being challenged by Jordy Fike. Let's get a replay of what's happened here. You can see they're already side by side coming out of the S's, and then it's like an old school Daytona race where they find a buddy. They're drafting it up. There's Thorman down to the inside. Jeff Jacobs around to the outside, and Thorman's kind of got the move already. Then he does an aggressive cutback to cut off Jeff Jacobs. Then around the outside, McGrew says, thank you very much. I'm staying with my draft partner.
Great move, though, for Jacobs to make sure he left him enough room. That's good racing side by side.
Great racing. Jeff, very experienced racer as well. And you can race him hard. You can race him side by side, but to race him hard side by side and have a good time and not make contact is even better.
Hey, you know, you talk about NASCAR. That is a NASCAR corner right there. That is the the inner loop there when the NASCAR boys come up to the Glen. It's exactly how they do it, right?
Well, without the bumping and the banging and the cursing on the radio, this is iRacing, buddy. We don't do that here.
Exactly. We keep it clean, kid friendly.
That too. Or we just don't upload a radioactive.
Well, at the front, the train's continuing. Not a lot of changes. I just wonder how long, when you're sitting back there and, you know, in that, 9th and 10th, how long do you remain patient?
I say for at least the opening 15 minutes. You want to get a good groove in there, try to pull out that gap, study the field, and the first 15 minutes is the most usually aggressive minutes in a race, especially in a 1 hour long race. Everyone wants to gain as much spots as they can, as we're going wide back here, heading into the bus. This can get tight, hard onto the brakes they go. Jeff Jacobs around the outside made that move work ahead of Jordy Fike.
I thought Fike was going to do the same thing to Jacobs that we just saw Thorman do a lap ago, but Fike said, nah, I'm not quite in the same position. I'll wait till the next time around. And so now he's behind
Fike
Jacobs.
Fike is also looking down his inside. He goes, what are you doing down there? And that was David Payton just be like, I think Payton got a little bit scared right there.
Fike is all over the back of Jacobs. He's looking for a spot. Maybe he'll go side by side here through the toe.
Jacobs looking defensive, trying to hold him out of that inside group. And actually, Fike got onto the curbing right there. And that's going to be hurting his speed coming off the exit. If he didn't get onto that curbing, he would have a great run on Jeff Jacobs right now.
He's trying everything, but as you said, you can't make that mistake of hitting that curb, but just give the guy in front of you a little bit of chance to get away, because Jeff's definitely feeling some of that pressure.
Ooh. Little bit of a slide from the car up front. Jeff Jacobs getting a good run on McGrew now, heading into the hardest corner on the circuit. Getting onto the throttle is very crucial here, and get a little bit too early, going to slide that car. Get on to a little late, you're going to be going at the speed of a snail coming out there after a long day out of Taco Bell. Got to find that moment where it's just right.
Just right to use that analogy. So yeah, they're not too far off the pace of what's in front of them. Kind of keeping an eye there between Haran and Mac, who's at the lead of this group here, just trying to see if, or excuse me, between Mac and Thorman, see how much that gap changes. Right now they're about 4 seconds. I don't know if they're going to be able to make up any ground, but at the front of the field, things haven't changed much.
Clean and dandy. Yeah, all clean and dandy. Nothing really wild happening. A little bit of wild happening with Mitchell Peak and Mike Dam. I can see Peak kind of looking inside of Mike Dam, going through the S's. But I feel like this is getting a little bit of a look, taking a bit line. We got a big wide line for Allen, and that's going to back up the field. Elvis Reagan almost gets to the back of him in the bus stop.
I'll tell you what that will do. That'll make everyone behind him think it's time to get around John Allen, because he's about to give Burke about a 9/10 or a 1 second lead.
Well, if they start fighting, he's definitely going to be giving him a big lead, and it's going to be definitely allowing him to grow that league. And I feel like Elvis Reagan has that little tick in his head and be like, this is the moment. He made a mistake. I should go. And then the other side of his head being like, I need to be patient about this, because if I start fighting him, that's going to be allowing the leader to pull away. So I'm not gonna try to go around it, but I will try to push him to catch back up to Burke and use that draft to our advantage.
I think that's the better move here, and I think Reagan's got the skills in him to stay on Allen's bumper and try and do a little bit of bump drafting on all these short straightaways, and when they come off of one and get up to the S's to the D's, a little bit of bump drafting into it towards the bus stop and close this gap back up. He's only 9/10 back. It's not unachievable by any means. Just a little bump draft here and there should be enough to close that back up, back down to the 4/10 we were at before. That little bit of slip there by Allen in that bus stop.
Now, but if Allen cannot make this ground up, it's going to be pretty much anyone's guess on what's going to happen. I feel like Elvis is going to give him one lap, and if that gap does not improve in one lap, if he makes another blunder in the bus stop, then it's game on for Elvis Reagan. He's going to go for that move, but already that gap has actually still risen to 9/10. But this is where that money comes in. This is where that draft comes in. We're going to see how close Allen can get to Burke.
He needs to get back down to about that 4/10. So he's got to hit the bus stop with precision. He misses that bus stop again. That lead's going to be up to 1.2 seconds, and Burke's going to be gone for several laps. Can't make the mistake now if you're John Allen.
Yeah, and Elvis Reagan needs to keep a cool head heading into the bus stop. If there's a mistake by Burke, Elvis might just try to go with his regular line again, and there is not a mistake by Burke, but if there was a mistake, Elvis could have gone for that line, and they might have had contact and not only hurt their race, but everyone in this pack's race as well.
Yep. John Allen's able to redeem himself, got this, able to pick up another 10th, still within the draft of Zach Burke. The work's not done yet. Still got to get it all the way down there, and that's exactly what this is work. When you make a mistake like that costs you 4 5/10, it is work. But speaking of work, these guys are working back here. That's Thorman and McGrew, I believe, or is that now Fike in the mix? All three of them.
It's a three-way fight. Jordy Fike got around the outside of Jeff Jacobs, who's in that yellow car, just dancing on the bumper of Jordy right there. Jordy managed to get around him, and Jeff Jacobs defending on the inside as he's getting pushed by David Payton, who's still stuck behind Jeff.
Jeff's a wide Miata. I tell you, he does not like anybody getting around him. He's clean about it, but man, he's driving a wide car.
Yeah, I've seen some Miatas, and usually they're very tiny. They're very small to get around. They get jokes of, it's a girl car because it's so small. Every college girl has one. Well, let me tell you, they might be small, but when you know how to drive one of these things, they become wide.
Jeff right now is definitely doing that. You got this other battle going on here. We've got the camera right now on Kevin Ford. He's in the middle of the mix there. Right in between Jeff Cranston, Jake Glitzman. These guys are just nose to tail in their own little battle.
Yeah, and I can tell you a lot of these guys still might have a little bit of Daytona in them. They still might need a little bit of taking out the cobwebs. I know we were talking with Kevin Ford before this race. He was not at all, quote, not at all prepared for this race. And the scheduling of putting Watkins Glen immediately after Daytona, so we got a side-by-side. Big look down here. First one in the upper field. And that was Mitchell Peak on Mike Dam.
Yeah.
Down the inside.
It's what you need to get that great run off of one to be able to get yourself in that position. It's a lot of work to start all the way back at the breaking point going into one to be able to eventually make a pass going into the bus stop. Other than that, this place is a really hard place to pass because, frankly, with the bus stop, there isn't anything that's a tremendously long straightaway around this track. And so getting a pass in is a lot of work. As shown here with anybody trying to get around Jeff Jacobs, it is not easy to do even with Jeff Jacobs, he's able to just position the car around. And at the front of the field, it gets even harder to get around someone as good as Mike Dam, as Mitchell Peak just showed how hard he had to work to make that move going into the bus stop.
Oh man, that orange and blue car, I believe 6 in the order. That would be Joshua Soto. He's looking a little bit feisty, and he's currently leading the ST Open class with the red mirrors.
He's playing with big dogs.
Yeah, he's pretty much the only. There are 2 SC Opens in this, Soto and Haran. Haran's at the very end of this grid, as we got more cars looking side by side now going to the final quarter. I feel like, well, how I said 15 minutes are usually the most aggressive, and we might start seeing stuff. 15 minutes came, and here we go.
And I'm seeing it now. Like you just said, if they go down the front straight, somebody wants to be in 3rd or 4th place, or at least they're just kind of taking looks and filling mirrors, but they're getting antsy.
He's filling mirrors, and he's filling the inside. That's Kernan Schwenke. Kernan down the inside. And that Stealth Bomber 7 still side by side with Schwenke.
Yeah, you know where it is? It's not the top 5. It's the second 5. That's where the mix starts happening.
Well, that's when the mix starts happening, but that's because the mix up front is even going on. There's cars diving down the inside, farther up the grid, side by side. Mitchell Peak looking in on Elvis Rankin, heading into the bus stop. Here we go. Mitchell Peak down low like he did last time by. Mitchell Peak's up into 3rd.
Wow, he is the mover right now. Last 3 laps, 2 positions, taking himself from 5th up to 3rd. Now he's got his eyes set on Allen. He may not even wait a whole lap the way he's moving. He might just get Allen here going through 6th the way he's moving. He wants to get Burke.
He's definitely at the peak of his game right now, and he's making a lot of moves and proving his point.
He's got to be careful.
Sorry about that forced pun.
That was a good one. He's being smart about it, though. Where he's doing his moves is not places where you lose momentum and end up in a bad side-by-side. And so he's got to be patient where he tries to make a move on Allen, because if he makes it in the wrong place, they're both going to lose Burke. And he knows that.
McGrew's got a great line right there. One of the DTD cars, the Thorman, trying to make the move on McGrew, on Jordy Fike. And now Fike down the inside off that switchback. They're going to be side-by-side heading into the heel. And Jordy Fike plays a smart game, stays back there. We got a car spun around up here in the heel, and that is Clinton Vigas. He's falling down the order.
It's another one easy place to do that, because you either clip the curb at the apex or you go wide in the grass.
There was contact.
Oh, a little bit, and then he gets the curb on the inside and more contact.
Well, that was just a checkup heading into the braking zone. And it was complete accordion effect right there, and absolute carnage happened.
And it's under review. So, well, let's see what kind of run Mitchell Peak gets now off of turn 1 and see if he gets his sights set on that little green car in front of him. And look at the run he's got already. Look at this. He's not even in the S's, and he's an inch off of Allen's bumper. Allen is a sitting duck going into the bus stop.
Allen looking back, and you do not want to see that bumper of Mitchell Peak as he looks down the inside. He did it last lap. He did it the lap before. Can he make it 3 in a row? Mitchell Peak looks down to the inside, and he's got it before the corner even started.
Wow. That's just unbelievable. He is so fast coming through 1, and that's where he's doing it. He's doing it coming off of turn 1, and no one else is hitting the mark there as well as he is. I'm not even sure that Zach Burke's hitting turn 1 as well as Zach Burke is right now. As Mitchell Peak is right now. They're so he's got his tires at, as you said, peak performance, and he's right now totally in tune with how that car is running at this 19-minute mark in this race.
Indeed, and now it's a Canadian 1-2 and a teammate 1-2 as they hold off that lead.
Well, there's still a whole pit stop to go, and this train is still a train, so it's not over yet. But after seeing Mitchell Peak go through the field like that, you got to think that Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin, also a couple teammates, might find themselves moving through.
And Brennan Haran, he was the second ST Open car in that front pack, has been issued a drive-through penalty. So this is great news if you're Joshua Soto, as well, he's in that front pack and he doesn't have to worry about his competition being in that pack with him. He can just drive his own race and start pulling away. But that front pack kind of disintegrating right now as everything's getting very wild.
A little bit, and the wild card there, the last race, the wild card was John Allen, if you remember. Everybody stayed in line, everybody just played their game, and it was John Allen that said, forget this, and decided mixing it up. Today, it's all Mitchell Peak that said he was the one tired of playing in the line and was going to start jumping. But look at the run that he's getting off of one every single lap. Elvis Rankin and Mike Dam, these two teammates have got to start doing the same thing, or they're going to lose those guys out front.
I believe the Team Esport races have found a groove that nobody else has looked into. But Mitchell Peak has found that groove. He's mastered that groove. He's looking outside of his teammate right now. But knowing that they're teammates, they're not going to be going 4 laps in a row trying to go down to the inside. But if Mitchell Peak and Burke were not teammates, they would have gone for that move right there, because Mitchell Peak had a run heading into that corner.
Again, this was 4 laps in a row. He just gets this tremendous run. And I think if anything, he should have just kept bumping him, kind of give Zach a little bit of a push from behind, because at this point, try and pull away from the field as best they can as teammates. But I still think you're going to have to see Mike Dam, Elvis Rankin, either they're saving fuel and just biding their time, or at some point worry that they don't want to have these two front teammates try to pull away should John Allen make a mistake, so they might want to try and get around him. The other option is we start to get towards the pit window being open. If they find themselves in a position where a mistake is made and they lose the front two, maybe immediately pit, limit the damage, and then come out in the pack somewhere else, and then set their own times, come in as a pair so the two teammates can maybe work together if you're Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin. It's another way to run this in terms of teammate strategies. And this pack hasn't gone anywhere in a while. These guys have been fighting all along here. This group of Fike, McGrew, Thorman, and Jacobs, and Peyton. This little 5-pack has definitely seen their share. As I was just talking about maybe coming in for pit stops, guess who's coming in?
Damon Hartley.
It is Damon Hartley. Not with Elvis Rankin, but it is the other teammates from that group that have made their way in for their pit stop here just past almost the 22-minute mark of the race. And pitting as teammates.
Yeah, which means as teammates is probably the smartest thing to do, because you're going to have that draft coming out of there, and you two can work together and, play that long game, and you might be able to power your way through that grid with that top 5. They might get into a little scrap, but that's what you're wanting to plan for, as well as maybe some lack traffic. You added some very unfortunate incidents, but looking at this group now, I do not believe that most of this pack has had unfortunate incidents.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see now how this works out for them. Do they have to work through traffic, which sometimes can slow you down? And at this point, any slow lap impeding by traffic is going to hurt your chances of beating back up with the front runners when they do their pit exchange. So I'm curious with the 3 of those teammates on Mike, why they decided to only have 2 of them pit and why Elvis is staying out. Maybe he's thinking of waiting for a John Allen or the other leaders. So very, very interesting there. All right, so with the front group still, though, nose to tail, going to be a very interesting pits, while the second pack, as we're calling them, is still tight with the Thorman, Fike, McGrew, and Jacobs. And in between now, you've got this Schwenke and Kernan and Shiflett and Mack. We've got a couple of different trains all kind of bunched together.
Some trades looking a little bit better than the others, but we're looking around the field right now at Derek Holland in 20th place. This is our SC Open fight right now, and a lot of SC Opens as the leaders are swapping for spots right now.
And look who just came into the pits as well, is the other one of those teammates,
Rankin.
Elvis Rankin. So ideally for him, he comes out in a train with his other teammates that just came in. So we'll be looking to see where Hartley and Dam come back out and meet up with Elvis Rankin here on the next outlap.
You know, if I was Mitchell Peak and Burke and the eSport Racers guys, I was going to go all 21 laps of this fuel tank right now. You two are the fastest cars on the grid. Do not let up. Push as hard as you can and work that gap into submission, because these guys are going to be just trying their own thing and trying to do the undercut, and what you have is speed. Go for that overcut and make them pay for it.
I would agree completely. Right now, the more laps you can do unimpeded by any lap traffic, the better. You run a risk of being impeded once you make a stop early. And I think the only option if you're Elvis Rankin and then the other team would be is if you felt like you could run faster laps without the guys in front of you and you had saved enough fuel to maybe do a little bit shorter pit stop. That's the only option, the only real strategy I could see wanting to pit at this stage. So we'll see how that works out and see if they're able to come back together. It looks like, looking down the list, Elvis came out quite a bit ahead of Mike Dam.
Yeah, there's a bit of a separation back there. That's definitely not going to be helping Elvis Rankin in the long run, especially if the plan was for the team to do a massive draft train. He's actually got some traffic behind him as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the Orion boys, not the most cleanest organized pit stop right here, but the eSport Racer boys, man, they've been studying for this race all. Man, this is a very impressive race by both these drivers.
Absolutely, and a smart move by Peak to get up to the front when he did, because if he hadn't, and then the Orion boys would have pit, he would have been gapped all the way to his teammate without having that opportunity to draft to get his way up there. But the fact that he did it before the Orion team had pit, he doesn't have to worry about that now. A very, very smart move for Peak to get himself up there with Burke before the pit stop windows opened.
Yeah, Mitchell Peak put it on the moves desperately when it needed hope for. As we're looking out throughout the field, Brendan Haran only in 13th place overall, but this is the fight for this is the fight for third place in the ST Open class. And Haran was receiver of that drive-through penalty already from earlier on, and they're bump drafting right now heading into the back straight, and I'm pretty sure Haran's going to try to look down to the inside or just try to push Sanchinelli up there, try to catch that pack up ahead.
Recognizing the situation that they can catch Cranston if the two of them work together. That's just smart thinking in the situation. Oh, but a mistake there by Sanchinelli, and Haran just takes the opportunity, jumps inside. I think Sanchinelli underestimated his speed going into the bus stop and probably just didn't brake early enough given the push that he was getting from Haran.
Well, he's probably smiling. If you want a representation of how Brendan Haran smiles, look at that photo right there. Probably a live look.
It could be, given the speed he just carried coming out of that bus stop and looking at Sanchinelli going, I just pushed you. I didn't mean to push you out of the way, but thanks.
It's like, okay, yeah, you're on my bumper. You take the spot, I'll follow you.
Just kind of keep an eye on.
Peak and Allen have separated, pulled out enough of a gap to actually pull away from Soto, who is sitting in fourth, and actually pulled away so far that they've actually just separated themselves in our battle box right here as they continue on for another lap. And that is a pit stop for Travis Schwenke.
So just taking a look at the list real quick. Last lap by for Mike Dam and Robert Hartley was a 2:09.0, 2:08, so roughly about a 2:09.0. Last time by for Peak and Allen, 2:09.3, 2:09.4, so a couple tenths quicker for Hartley and Dam, even though they've already pitted.
What is going on right here, Parchino? Dan Taylor and Hartley 4 wide for a little bit, but these four cars in a very tight pack right now.
Trying to make their way through traffic, and this is where it hurts to do that early stop, because now you're stuck behind other folks at the tail end of this 33-car field, whereas out front, you can do that 2:09.3 all day long. No one's in front of you. You could just keep doing it. At the back, a couple tenths faster, but then you get a couple tenths slower, even a second slower, because you got stuck behind someone else.
I've noticed something. Mitchell Peak's a little bit later on the brakes than Zach Burke. Like every corner, he's just a little bit later, about 10 feet just slightly later, Burt gets onto the brakes, and then right as that point happens, a little bit after that, Mitchell Peak gets onto the brakes just a little bit later, and I feel like he's trying to pull out Allen into making a mistake behind him.
Well, as we noted, it looked like Peak has definitely got the best braking turn-in point off of 1 to get the runs that he has to go to the bus stop. And I would speculate he's potentially the fastest car on the track, but because it's a teammate in front of him, he's not going to make this move. If anything, he might be saving a little bit of fuel right now following his teammate. We could definitely see just teammate to teammate, a bit of undercut going into the pit stops, and you might actually see Mitchell Peak leapfrog him when they come back out on the other side.
It's a battle of teammates up at front. Opposite pit strategies forming their way here at Watkins Glen. Who's got the strategy? Who's got the speed? You're here watching the Classic Sprint Series presented by Pro Forma Elite Texas Graphics. As we'll be right back after this break as Burt, Peak, and Soto head into the pit lane.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Welcome back to the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Pro Forma Elite Texas Graphics. We're back here live looking at David Payton and the DTD boys sitting in 3rd and 4th, and we're looking over at our timing tower coming out of the pit lane. Mike Dam is our net leader of the race, followed by Elvis Rankin. Elvis had a little bit of a mistake now there, and he's behind his teammate as Burke and Peak and Hartley are all following right behind. And the two drivers that we thought were going to just go as long as they can to pull away have actually fallen behind them. And the pit stop exit proving to be a little bit risky as Elvis Rankin gets a little bit of a visit with the grass.
Yep, once again, proving that the commentators are always wrong. The leaders, Burke and Peak, decided to pit immediately after we got done saying they should stay out as long as they can. And for them, unfortunately, they put themselves right behind the Orion Racing of Rankin and Dam. So, as you said, the net lead right now falls in the hands of Mike Dam and his teammate right behind him, Elvis Rankin. What we're trying to figure out is exactly what happened to Elvis Rankin, because we believe that Rankin was actually a couple seconds after his stop ahead of his teammate Mike Dam. He has fallen into the clutches of this group right now, falling right behind Mike Dam. The actual lead of the race is still John Allen, the only one that decided to just stay out there and turn laps, but he has no drafting buddy. As you can see, he's 20 seconds clear of Chris Thorman and the rest of this field. The
Actually, he does have a drafting buddy. He does have a drafting buddy. One drafting partner. It's a lap car that he's catching up right now. But that's not going to be the most useful drafting buddy as we're looking at Elvis Rankin being under pressure. But right behind him, we got a big gaggle of cars side by side. And oh my goodness, they're still side by side. They're drifting side by side. They're all over the place side by side through the bus stop. And surprisingly, they've all kept... Wow!
Wow, I can't believe they got there super, super clean. Now they're still too wide going around the outer loop. That's amazing. Wow.
Now look at that is a pack.
That is a crazy pack. Somehow they made it through there unscathed so far. Look at lap times real quick. John Allen's last time by 2:09.3. Our net leader of the race last time by 2:08.9. So Allen losing a bit of ground to the other folks that have already had their pit stop. So we'll see Allen looking like he's staying out. This other group, they have no one in front of them, so they're able to run clean laps, as it looks like most of the field now having taken their stops. Very few cars left that need to make their pit stops.
Rankin. Burt found his way past Elvis Rankin, and now it's a battle between the teams. It's Orion, Esport, Orion, Esport, Orion. I'm not repeating myself. This is not ping pong. They just happen to be lined up this way.
Well, as we've seen before, if Mitchell Peak starts doing what he did before, we're about to see him line up for about 3 straight laps of 3 straight passes as he comes off of one with the same group, if the tires feel as good as they did before. But right now, one is about to have a pass.
Here it comes. Yeah, it's not Mitchell Peak. We haven't seen Burt make a move all the time because he started at the front, and there's the move down the inside for the overall lead. And booyah! Zach Burt back into the lead, but now here comes Dan looking onto the outside, looking for that draft, heading into the bus stop. Mitchell Peak is dancing on that rear end of Elvis Rankin, and he's looking, and he wants Burt to hold down that inside, and here they go. They're going to be side by side coming out of the S's. Elvis Rankin looking to help out his teammate, might be looking for a move. Mitchell Peak also looking for a good spot right on the outside and into the bus stop. Mike Dam back into the lead of this group.
I can only wonder if the reason that Zach Burke made that move was just to slow them down a little bit and make sure that Mitchell Peak stayed in this group and give Mitchell Peak a chance to try and make up a spot as well. Because going into one and making the pass there is almost certainly going to get you repassed going into the bus stop, as we just saw.
And a few conspiracy theories out in the chat why Elvis was so far ahead as Burt tries another look down the inside heading into the toe is that he underfueled the car, and looking at his pit stop time in the box, it is significantly faster than everybody else. A lot shorter. About 6 seconds shorter than everybody else. So he could have underfueled that as Alan Burt looks down the inside and damn, side by side they go. Burt gets back the lead. So Elvis Rankin might be fuel saving for this race, and expect that number 1 car to be staying in that position a lot. And that's probably why he fell back to get his teammates to save fuel. He might have done a little bit of calculator mistake.
That is an interesting theory that we're going to have to see, that he just might be running a gear high for the rest of this race and try and save some fuel. 5 seconds left in your fuel stop. That's a lot of less fuels. I don't know if he can make that work, if that's truly what happened to him. But at this point, his best bet is to help his teammates. And the best way to help them is to make sure that out in front of him, Mike Dam has a good teammate and is able to keep up with Zach Burke.
It is the fastest time in the pit box, so if there was a pit stop award, that Team Orion will definitely be winning that one. As we got a good scrap right here between Schwenke and Kernan. I can't say the S's names today for some reason. And Soto is just dancing between them, being devil's advocate, being like, all right, you go forward, now you go forward.
They're going to maybe go 3 wide going into the bus stop the way they're looking right now.
Oh, that would be grand. And Soto's looking there. 3 wide. And they managed to realize what they were doing. They all backed off right there. She's trying to give me a heart attack right now. It's 8. Come on, guys. The year just started. I don't want to go to the hospital because of that. Back up to our fight for the net lead. Burt Peak. Our new leaders, as Mitchell Peak, managed to make that move, double move now, to get up there right behind his teammate, and this is deja vu now. 3 Orions following the 2 eSport racers, and, well, gloves are off, I would say. We're approaching 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, and right now, the only way that John Allen's got a chance in this is if the Orion boys start fighting up in front of them and keep slowing this pack down, because this pack as a group is turning about 4/10 a lap faster than John Allen's been turning. So Allen's got to get in, come back out, and see how close he is to this group, because at this point, he might be losing ground.
John Allen, there's a little bit of fighting happening behind there, so he might be having a good-ish run. Looking at the times, though, he is falling back. 4/10 lost that time by last lap. Heading down this time, his last lap was a 2:09.44. Last lap for Zach Burke. New fastest lap of the race by Mitchell. Big 2:08.336. Well, there goes a second off the lead.
Exactly the problem here if you're John Allen right now. You can only go so fast when you're by yourself. But if you were Mitchell Peak and you just passed a couple of cars mid-lap, 2:08.3s are a definite possibility. But even the front of this group, which didn't change hands for Zach Burke, that last lap was a 2:08.7, 7/10 faster than John Allen's. That's why Allen right now is a sitting duck.
Dan's got to run down the inside. Pete helping his buddy on the outside. They're going to go side by side, heading to the bus stop. Big checkup for both of them. Mike Dam up into the net lead, followed by Pete, Burke, Pete, Rankin, Hartley. Eyes going all over the place right now. These 5 cars racing so close, and these next 10 minutes are going to be teammate games. In the last 10 minutes, the gloves are off. The sim racing gloves are off, which is actually you would prefer to keep those on because they're very comfortable. But the gloves are literally off, and the teammates are going to start fighting each other. They want that position, and we might have another classic finish here in the Classic Sprint Series. Let's go 2 for 2 here at Watkins Glen.
That was the other move. It's coming right back as he comes down into turn 8.
Burke. Dan tried to hold it around the outside as long as he could, but Burke goes down low, says, I like this game of do-si-do. I'm going to see you two there. And Zach Burke back into the net lead.
They've now swapped positions twice on this lap. Burke was the leader at the start of this lap, and he looks like right now he's going to be the leader at the end of this lap. But it shows that the one thing to note, the note you want to remember is that a possible pass can still happen between the heel and the toe of the boot. We just saw it happen. So on our last couple of laps, coming out of the bus stop does not decide the winner of this race. There's still possible passing to go into the heel, coming out of the heel into the last corners is still possible to make passes.
Tyler Shiflett has lost his window mirror, and it looks like he might have smacked the outside wall as Chris Thorman makes a move down to the inside. And yeah, that left mirror is missing off that car. I saw something hopping down the front straight, and yeah, that was a window mirror. That's an aggressive cut across the nose by Mike Dam to keep that lead ahead of Burke.
He got that lead early. If you remember, Burke had the lead when they crossed start finish for this lap.
That is true. Holding around the outside, Burke holding that inside line. And when you start defending on that inside line to the bus stop, that kind of shows the other guy, I'm scared of you. You're a threat. You kind of want to put the aggressor on the inside and say, this one's up to you. You have to brake earlier if you're on the inside line heading into the bus stop, because it's not your typical corner. The outside line technically has advantage because you're going to be carrying more speed through that corner, and that inside line is usually at fault if there's an incident.
No move to make here.
Yeah, very early on, letting Mike Dam have that spot as Burke. Well, that's an early checkup by him and almost allowing a peak to go around to the outside. I feel like Burke is trying to play some mind games right here. Something that I used to do in karting. When you get up right beside somebody, you just brake hard a little bit before the actual braking point. Try to catch them in the mirror driving and try to force them to completely just blow over their braking point. And you know, it sometimes works here, but knowing these guys, I don't think that playground tactic would actually work.
Not always.
It makes you laugh when it does work, because you're just like, ha. If you want to try, go to Ricky Monsters. Do that right next to somebody. It's a big laugh.
Well, I'm kind of keeping an eye on this gap. It's now under 33 seconds from John Allen back to this group, which is really putting Allen in a difficult position to be able to come out anywhere near this pack.
Yeah, and Allen, he stayed out longer than I thought he could. Still waiting for his pits, actually.
Yeah, he's been running very consistent 209.3s. Every time I look up, it's another 209.3. And he's hoping these guys will do more side-by-side. But unfortunately, these guys are playing very nice and passing and making very clean passes, which actually makes them relatively quick laps. You know, if you watch the aggregate here.
Clip.
Yeah.
But they just swapped complete positions. It's Dam, and now Burke's the leading eSport racer car. And Burke, the overtaking machine, can he get past Mike Dam and hold it right there? And Elvis Rankin has just sat there at third. I think Elvis Rankin is actually low on fuel. He's not really looking too quick right now, and he's just saving fuel as much as he can, trying to make it to the end. You got 15 minutes to go.
You sure he doesn't look quick?
He always looks quick, but he's not looking to make a move. That's what I mean.
I'm just watching him right on the tail, unless he's... Usually when you're trying to save fuel, you maybe back a little bit, especially coming off of corners and try to use the draft, because you might be trying to short shift at times. You watch him, he is just snuggled up right on the rear bumper of every car that's in front of him, like he's putting pressure on.
How has Allen stayed outside of the pits this long?
Yeah, he's 46 minutes now without making a stop.
It was estimated that they can only go 21 laps. It's lap 23.
Well, he might be thinking he can pull off one of those 12-second pit stops, a lot like our friend Elvis Rankin did. And if he can, that might be his only chance.
You know, at the start, we did see him stay behind this group at all. And he might have been doing what Elvis Rankin was doing to saving a lot of fuel as Mitchell Peak goes down low and into the lead. And now it's a big squabble right behind as here comes Mike Dam onto the bumper. Mitchell Peak. It's going to be a very defensive fight. Up here, it's going to be a very aggressive fight. Elvis Rankin pops out of that groove for a little bit. Here comes Peak on Rankin. But it's Burke under pressure by Dam. Burke goes down low. Dam looks up high. Burke comes back up high. Then gets a little bit of a bump. They're defending down low. Elvis trying to give Dam a little bit of a push. They're going to be side by side heading to the bus up. Down the inside goes Dam. Sends it through. Peak around the outside of Rankin. eSport back into second and third. Net as Mike Dam overtakes the net lead.
Yeah, they are just pushing each other as teammates can line up on the straightaway and help each other get that extra pass to get all the way up on that inside line. But they're also being nice about making sure that they go single file through that bus stop. As you had said, though, teammates will play teammates up until about that 10 minutes to go mark. We're not quite there yet. About one more lap, 2 more laps, so we start getting into that full gloves off scenario of the final 10 minutes, the last 5 laps.
Here comes Burke. Bump drafted, heading into the heel, and you can see that was a big hit right there. Mike Dam actually getting a little bit upset. His back end did give a big wiggle. John Allen finally goes into the pit lane. We're going to see if all of his hard work's paid off, but I don't believe it's going to be that much unless Mike Dam and the boys have a massive squabble coming through these final 2 corners. This 5-car fight might turn into a 6-car fight coming out of pit lane, but John Allen doesn't have to be in the pits for that long. It's just a splash and go for him. 13 minutes left in this race. Dam, Burke, Peak, Rankin, Hartley. Their battle for the lead as there is Allen into the pits, and he's staying in there longer than Elvis Rankin did. He's now coming out. He's spinning up the wheels.
Not much longer.
It's going to be a side-by-side race coming out of pit exit. He gets onto the grass. Here we go. Who's going to have the strategy? John Allen is still in the lead of this race.
Again, proving the commentators completely wrong. He does it with a 14-second pit stop, a little longer than Rankin's, but faster than everybody else's because, as you said, though,
fighting behind him was all to blame, and now this is the battle for second overall because Allen is just 1.4 seconds, and then they continue fighting. That gap's going to keep growing and growing and growing. This is the start of the race all over again. John Allen is clear of this fight, as now they aren't going to go for the moves as they all realize, oh no, what they've done. Almost 10 minutes remain here at the Glen, and this is heart-pounding action here on Apex Racing TV.
I didn't
And
hear the
we're-
transmission. I did not hear the transmission, but as soon as we saw the John Allen going into the bus stop and the rest of the pack 1.4 behind him, I saw an Elvis Rankin transmission, and I suspect he was saying, guys, time to play nice. We have to catch him. I suspect that that's what was going on because they all realized in the moment that 1.4 seconds is right on the verge of where the draft becomes non-existent. John Allen can drive perfect laps and pull away if these guys behind him are going to start the fight.
Dam goes down low. Dam's slowing up. He's letting Burke take the lead of this group.
Again, putting the fastest car out in front, realizing in the moment how to go and catch the leader.
But that slowed him up.
It did a little bit, but it also, maybe he didn't get a good enough run. I think it's his positioning and understanding the moment. I think that's not a bad move. They're 1.3 back. They've got about 5 laps to go.
Well, this is going to be crazy. 10 minutes remain. 1.2 seconds going. 1.2 seconds the gap for the lead. Can the chasing 5 catch up the lone wolf of John Allen? Or will the lone wolf prevail here in the hills of Watkins Glen? Or will the party behind catch him up? And I don't even know what's going to happen if they all catch him up. But it is technically Allen in the lead. 5 cars battling out for a second, trying to catch up to the lead. And 3 separate teams now battling out for the lead of this race here at Watkins Glen for the Classic Sprint Series. 9 minutes left.
Oh, that run that Burke got off of turn 1, the run that Allen didn't get, is coming to haunt John Allen right now because they're going to have this to 6/10 going into the bus stop, and this is going to be a race with 4.5 laps to go. And the game is on, as now we've got a 6-car pack, I should say, all together like we were a half an hour ago. Game is on.
And the cycling tactics, letting the faster car get ahead in the peloton, chasing the leader. Well, the breakaway thought they could work. It's not working today, but now we have a 6-car fight for the lead here with under 9 minutes to go at Watkins Glen. Allen, Burke, Dam, Peak, Rankin, Hartley. It all into play, and they're catching up to traffic. Who's going to use the pick and roll for their advantage to get ahead and get a leg up on the competition here? All gloves are off. All teammates are, well, pretty much enemies right now. It's time to make the move. Allen gets a little bit loose coming out of the heel. Got into the grass, and here we go. Burke on his tail.
Now the game, if you're any one of these 6, to be in the top 3. You don't have to be first, you don't have to be second, you don't have to be third. You need to be in that top 3. If you're 4, 5, and 6, you are desperate to get into the top 3 because in the last 2 laps, I don't see anybody out of the top 3 winning this race. If you're in 3rd, you can get to 2nd, you can get to 1st. If you're in 4th, you can't get by 3 cars. So right now, the chase is on to get into that top 3. The fight from 5, 4, and 6, 5, and 4 to get into 3rd place is going to just be brutal right now. The top 3 are going to be trying to secure those positions for the last lap, but the next 3 are going to be desperate.
We ride on board of Zach Burke, chasing down Allen. He had a good look down low, but here comes Burke into the S's. He's got the run already. He's going to be even faster than Allen. He's have to find his way. He's going to be forced to look down to the outside, but he wants that inside line, but Allen is just planted himself on that inside line. To the outside he goes. Allen, Burke, side by side for the lead. Mitchell Peak looking down low as well. And it's Burke clean around the outside as Allen lets it by. So it's Burke, Allen, Dan, Peak, Rankin, Hartley are top 6.
Notice that it's now Rankin in 3rd. Remember how long we said Rankin was going to sit back there and save fuel? Rankin's done saving
5th.
fuel. Rankin's in 5th.
Now.
Oh, he has gone to 5th. Okay, I thought he had gotten it. So there's still Dam in 3rd.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mike Dam went to 3rd. I think Elvis had a good run, but he had a little bit of exit. Not the best for him, and he's falling down right there. But it's Burke leading out Allen and Dam. 3 different cars, 3 different teams, 3 going to these top 3 definitely in the play as Mitchell Peak gives a bit wide. Here comes Dam down low. As we look back from
Rankin
John
on
Allen.
Peak if he can do it.
And Allen going a little bit wider than Mike Dam. And these leaders are all so very aggressive. Elvis Rankin getting passed by his teammate Hartley. Rankin, I think, is on fumes right now. 6 minutes remain.
He might be. I think that fuel stop of 12 seconds might have been about 2 seconds too short. We're seeing now that the 14-second stop by Allen, I suspect, is an accurate amount, seeing how late he stopped. He knows how much he needed, but Elvis's might have been just a little bit shy of fuel, so he might be just sniffing fumes to the end. But I'm looking at it right now. Mitchell Peak, we saw how aggressive he was, how great he was at making those passes. In 4 laps, he passed 4 cars and made great moves off of 1. He needs to repeat that right now with about 3 laps to go in this race.
3 laps to go. Under 6 minutes. 5 minutes to go right now. Burke, Allen, Dam, Peak, Hartley, Rankin, questionable at the end of this grid. There's Dam looking on that outside, showing his play for that inside move, but Allen holding down low. It's a drag race. Here it goes. Dam looking down low. We see Peak also looking down low on the low. They're 3 wide behind Burke as they head into the bus stop. They all make it through cleanly once more. Peak trying to go for his signature bus stop move, but that big fight right there is allowing Burke to pull away. Those 3 cars fighting for a position is allowing Burke to pull away. 7 tenths now, and back to the chasing tactics they go. Peak trying to play devil's advocate, cause some chaos right behind him, and cause more drivers to go for more moves and create some separation between Allen and Burke.
Hartley is all over the back of Peak right now. Hartley is the aggressor. If Peak makes a mistake like he just almost did there coming out of the bus stop, Hartley be able to jump on him. But you're right, Allen right now unable to keep up with Burke. Burke is really just hitting all of his marks right now out in front.
Burke's definitely going to work out here. Allen went a little bit deep. Here comes Dam trying to chase down Allen and get these boys back onto the bumper of Burke. Mitchell Peak holding that inside line as they head outside of the boot. They're going to be side by side with Hartley as they're coming out of the hardest corner as they're heading into 2 corners to go. Hartley and Peak still side by side. Peak's got that inside line. Peak going to send around to the inside, but right on the outside goes Hartley for 4th place.
There's that aggressive move. Like I said, Peak had to make 1 mistake and Hartley was there to pounce. He just did. Hartley now needs to keep up with the draft in front of him from his teammate Mike Dam. I think he's close enough to do that. Hartley be having a good run going into the bus stop, but watch Mike Dam get a run on John Allen and be right on the tail of Burke as they go into the bus stop here on this lap. It looks like about 2 laps to go.
We're looking at these guys. I think Peak might have had another fuel issue. 3 laps to go, 3 minutes to go. It feels like 3 laps to go. I think it is actually 3 laps to go. We'll find out. Probably not. 2 laps ago.
Look at the run by Mike Dam. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him moving John Allen.
Dam down low. Side by side draft. Dam's got the move before the corner's even there in sight. And it's Burke, Dam, Allen, Hartley, Peak, Rankin, our top 6 here. And, oh man, I'm not a betting man, and I don't want to be a betting man right now because the odds are in all these guys' favors.
No.
What the heck is happening back here?
Whoa! And somebody told them there's 2 laps to go, and they know what's going on. Side by side through the bus stop.
Travis Schwenke, the winner of that fight.
He has a whistle, though. No contact. We're good to go.
An absolute slobber knocker of a fight happening back here in the back, but up at the front, we got a bar stool fight about to happen.
And John Allen is dropping quickly in this group as now it's been Hartley to get around him here at the toe of the boot. And like I said, that battle to be in the top 3 for the last lap is where you want to be. And right now, Hartley has got that 3rd spot, pushing John Allen, who had the lead for half an hour, now down to 4th, and pushing our potential fuel savers to the bottom in Peak and Rankin. But the top 3 on what looks like is going to be the white flag lap, Burke, Dam, and Hartley now in 3rd.
Things are certainly heating up to the hottest temperature they've been here all night, on track, in these cars, in these driver suits, in the sims. Their computers are raging hot right now, and the tension is so high. With 1 minute and about 25 seconds left, let's go. Almost Yeah, we are white flag racing here at Watkins Glen.
Who gets the run off of one that leads to the lead into the bus stop? Is it going to be Harley? Is it Dam? Or can Burke get the run of his life going into this bus stop? I suspect there's going to be Orion cars all around him by the time we get to the top of the hill at the bus stop.
Burke's a sitting duck. It's an Orion 2-3 getting the run heading into the bus stop. But can Burke defend? Dam's got a good run. Dam being forced around to the outside. Hartley getting a good run, trying to force Burke into a mistake, but he's going to be helping his teammates side by side. They go. It's a big bump from onto Dam. Dam around the outside. Dam gets into first, but Burke staying in second. Burke still has opportunities to go. We've seen moves being made into the heel before. Can we see it happen again? But it's Dam, Burke, Harley, Allen, Rankin, our top 5. As Peaks kind of just dance at the back. That's 3 wide for 4th.
Yeah, 3 wide through that carousel there on the outer loop. It looked a little bit crazy there for a minute. And look at John Allen. Unfortunately, he's back to 6th after leading this race, coming out of the fuel stops. This is just tragic for him, unfortunately. But at the front, it's not over.
Left alone. There's a lap car up here. This is going to be tight and crazy. Burke just dancing on the bumper of Dam, heading into that point where he needs to make that move. Dam into the lead still. Burke's got Hartley right behind him. They've got that lap car. This is going to be in the middle of the track. This is going to get absolutely crazy. 3 corners left to go at the end of this race. Dam, Burke, Hartley in the lead. And there's that lap car. The blue flags are waving. The drivers are screaming, get out of the way. He dives down low, says, oh my goodness, this is about to be a slam jam right now. Cars going off the track. Hartley getting his big run off there. Dam's leading into the final quarter. Here comes that run all the way up to the wall. There's fanning out. It's going to be a drag race to the line, but it's going to be Dam by a nose here at Watkins Glen. Wow.
And where's John Allen?
Allen is crashed.
No.
He's down to 16th. He's crashing in. He's out of fuel. Allen is out of fuel.
Oh no, that's heartbreaking right there, coming into out of the heel, out of the boot section. But look at this pack. Jeff Jacobs leading this group off of turn 11. He'd been fighting with a lot of these guys for the entire race.
Wow.
And he's going to come out just a nose ahead of Peyton Horan and Thorman. Oh,
man.
incredible.
Wild race all over the place, and John Allen is just losing spots more and more. But Mike Dam, in that final lap, he knew what he needed to do. He got a big help from his teammate of Hartley, as it's Dam, Burke, and Hartley, our top 3. 2 races in a row. Well, 2 races in this Classic Sprint Series, 2 classic finishes. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Wow. All right.
Well, I feel like our voices are a little bit stretched to its limits, so you're here watching the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Proforma Elite Texas Graphics. We'll be right back after this break for driver interviews and a race rundown.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com. Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And we are back here live as the cars pull into the pit lane here for the Classic Sprint Series. Mike Dam is your winner by a nose ahead of Zach Burke. Robert Hartley, the teammate of the year for the Orion team. And Mike Dam, he owes Hartley a beer, a drink, or a beverage or some sort because that bump on that last lap was insane. Elvis Rankin fuel saved his way into fourth, followed by Mitchell Peak. And Allen down in 18th as he ran out of fuel. He still hasn't come across the line, but it's Travis Schwenke finishing in 6th place. Tyler Shiflett in 7th, followed by Tony Kernan, Greg Mack, Jordy Fike, Jeff Jacobs, David Payton, Chris Thorman, Tom Ratheth, Randall McGrew, Clint Vigas, Kevin Ford, John Allen, Grotzen in 19th at the end of the ST Pro category. Let's go over to the ST Opens. Joshua Soto was in that leading pack for most of this race. He had a good separation as he takes the win in that class, followed by Brendan Huron and Edgar Sechinelli in 3rd, followed by Jeffrey Cranston, Nicholas Parchino, Greg Brockway, Derek Holland, Danny McNulty, Michael Keys, David Brown, Mike Taylor, Eric Chrysler, Patrick Pervanis, and Robert Burst at the end of the ST Open category. What a race, and man,
amazing race from start to finish. It had everything from a lot of strategy. You had the teammates working together, whether it was early on with Mitchell Peak getting his way up to Zach Burke to work together, as those teammates worked together so well. But in the end, it was the other teammates that did the job together, and we've got the winner of the race here with a little bit of push from his teammate Mike Dam. Congratulations on the win, but I gotta ask, a little bit of help there from your teammate Robert Hartley helping you there in the last lap, eh?
Absolutely, that was clutch for sure. I definitely thanked him for that one. That was a ridiculous race.
That was one of the most intense races, start to finish, I've seen. You guys actually pit early in that, very earlier than we would have ever expected, and you guys had pit, the two of you, you and Hartley had pit early. We're down the order a bit from even when Elvis pit a lap later. Suddenly Elvis was in your group. We weren't quite sure how long that was going to last, but suddenly he came out and you guys were mixing it right back up then with Zach and Mitchell. Was that part of your strategy, beginning to pit early and take your chances?
Yeah, so we kind of started out the race pretty easy off, and then the esports guys were forcing the issue a little bit, so I kind of forced the race to start in a sense. And I was just looking at the lap times, and I was like, we're going a little slow here. So I figured I could get a little jump if I got the fresh tires right away, fueled up, and just run a couple good laps. It really helped having Rob pit right behind me. We were able to just do a little bit of a tandem there. So that really helped the early race. And then it seemed right after Mitchell and Zach came out there, they made it clear it was race on. So from then on, it was all in.
Yeah, definitely. And then late in the race, when all of a sudden John Allen makes his pit stop, and then actually we've got a replay queued up here of the last lap pass as we see you get the move going to the outside as protecting the inside with Zach, and suddenly we see that little bit of bump from Rob giving you that little bit of push to vault to the lead there. But I was going to ask you about when you come, the last pit stop was made by John Allen, and suddenly he's a second and a half clear of the field, and you guys have been kind of mixing it up there for a couple laps. It seemed like you guys suddenly had to get in line to make sure you guys caught him. Was there a bit of communication to that effect, and was there a bit of a change of the leaders to make sure that you guys got in line to catch John there on those closing laps?
Absolutely. As soon as we realized John Allen was a wild card, I definitely wanted to clean it up a bit. And honestly, he came out, and I decided to let Zach go because I knew he had the faster car, and we could make sure we closed that gap there. Once we did that, we were able to make a plan to try to get the lead by the end.
Yeah, it turned to be a great move because within about one lap, you guys are right on the tail. I think coming out of the bus stop, suddenly it was back to being a 6-car pack, and you guys kind of bullied your way right past John Allen there. Eventually, he ends up running out of fuel anyway.
Yes.
But you guys put on one heck of a show in those closing laps. Amazing last lap passes. Just beautiful, great racecraft by all, and a great win for yourself there. So congratulations on that. Anybody you want to thank for this win here tonight?
Yeah, just my teammates from Orion. Really good. We were able to come in tonight and build a setup that was adequate. It turned out to be really good. So thanks for Travis for that. He really brought that one together. And just for us working together and encouraging each other and stuff. And so just the admins for putting this on, and you guys for broadcasting. Thank you.
All right, well, thanks, and congratulations again on the win. Looking forward to see you at the next round.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike. There's your winner from tonight here at the Glen. And I think, Austin, we've also got our other winner tonight. We've got Josh Soto here joining us.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great, Josh. You had a much more relaxing race than the entire battle for the overall lead, but you took your ST Open lead, and walk us through that race because you had a little bit of challenge at the start. You were in that massive pack at the lead, which had another ST Open car with you, and it got kind of dicey here and there. Walk us through that race.
Yeah, I was just trying to maintain the pace with the leading cars, in the pro class, and sometimes it was a bit dicey with the braking points because I had different braking points, so I almost went into the back of the other cars. But it was just pretty much maintaining the gap and keeping their draft.
Well, you certainly kept in the draft, and everything worked out for you right there. Coming out of the pit stops, it was a little bit calmer. You were in a good old fight around you, and so walk us through the second part of that race, as some might call it.
Oh yeah, for that one, I was trying to catch back up to the leading cars because I had some pit problems. I don't know which exactly the amount of fuel that I was supposed to be using. So I ended up getting out of the pits a little bit late and losing quite some time towards the pro class, and I was just trying to catch back up to them, but I ended up around 7th place. Pretty satisfied with that.
Well, it's a good spot to be satisfied. It's a win for you in the ST Opens. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Oh, yeah. I want to thank my friend Lewis. I want to thank Greg Mack for introducing me to this series, and my mom and my family.
Well, they're all going to be proud of you today. It's a win for you. You have yourself a good night, Josh, and over to Larry for some closing thoughts.
All right, so I think that was a great round for us here in this week. I think some of the best racing we've had, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season here in this Classic Sprint Series. We've got a couple of races still coming up. Austin, you want to let us know what we've got coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, next week here on Apex Racing TV, the Ricmotech Sports Car Series returns for round 2 of 8 at Barber Motorsports Park. Those are the GT4 and TCR cars going at it at one of my favorite racetracks in good old Sweet Home, Alabama. Then on February 8th, the Ricmotech World Challenge makes its return for their second round at Virginia International Raceway. That's some great multi-car action. And then the Classic Sprint Series returns for round 3 at Mid-Ohio. And I can tell you, those races there can get crazy. and in the good and the best and worst ways, but certainly the best action here at Ricmotech for the Sports Car Series World Challenge and Classic Sprint Series, all of them presented by Proforma Elite Texas Graphics. I've been joined by Larry McLeod and Dennis Branch in the production booth. I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.